My name is Teneille Murray. I am the Innovation and Growth Lead at the Medical Technology Association of Australia. We see in Australia there are incredible ideas coming out of Australia, but an idea and a concept is not enough to ultimately get into patients and get into market. Medical technology is a long journey with a lot of hurdles along the way. You're looking at regulatory hurdles, reimbursement hurdles, clinical validation. And for that concept to get into market, it takes a really long time. So what you need along that journey is the right partnerships, the right support, the right people, and building the right networks to help you get through that. MedTech Compass is the innovation membership of MTAA. It supports early stage and startup medtech companies. So we're talking companies that sit around TRL3, so when they've got a bit of a proof of concept, all the way through to market, which could be years in the making. We want to make sure that we're providing the support to help companies get through those hurdles that we spoke about, and that we're providing industry knowledge, expertise, and partnerships to make sure that these companies get to market. Australia actually has one of the highest numbers of patents filed per year. We're just second after the USA, but we have one of the lowest rates of commercialization. And the question is, why do we have so much research and so many patents, but it's not commercializing? That's why we at MedTech Compass, we provide the connection with industry, we provide the membership to support these really incredible ideas, because ultimately we want to see them in patients and we want to see a healthier Australia.
My name's George Sidis. I'm Managing Director of IDE Group. We are a product development and commercialisation firm. We've been running for about 23 years, specialising in developing, conceptualising, idea creation and discovery, all the way through to detailed design, MPI and manufacturing of medical technologies and medical devices generally. We very much have a mission around building better futures and working together with industry, clinicians, patients, and other bodies around how to do that and to create better medical technology solutions that in the end serve patients, clinicians and health systems. For a very relatively small organisation, we have a lot of breadth into the types of expertise and services that we offer. Obviously, our core competencies around design and engineering. So we have a design group that's very focused on how we develop and innovate and invent solutions, but also does a lot of work around human factors engineering and usability, and also UX UI. So we do have a group very focused on user experience and user interface, particularly in digital connected device world that we now find ourselves in. We also have other traditional engineering groups, mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, and software engineering. Essentially, one of our core competencies is being able to bring all those knowledge areas and competencies together into a single service. We also run a manufacturing group and do pilot production. So we do understand that the gap between design and development and manufacturing and production can be a large one, and we like to work with our clients around trying to transition that, both from a point of view of being able to lower investments up front, particularly when volumes are low, but also from a point of view to get a smooth design transfer from design to production and manufacturing. We also have a regulatory and quality function. We've been ISO 13485 certified for over 10 years now, and we have a strong regulatory group based out of our US presence, as a result of the fact that almost all companies that we work with look to the US as the first market to get approval for and clearance to enter. We also have a geographic breadth. We have 2 offices in the United States, one in Minneapolis, one in Philadelphia. The Minneapolis office has a design and engineering group and a human factors lab that we utilise to do both formative and summative studies. We also have in Philadelphia a pilot production and manufacturing group that we do production out of. We also have a presence in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Our headquarters is here in Sydney, so in Leichhardt, where we have the facility that we're currently filming in, where we have sort of 60 to 70 designers, engineers, and other professionals here to help and provide services to our clients.
Being a BBFH finalist has been super meaningful for us. We've had the opportunity to come up to Sydney, participate in the grand finals event and really forge some new relationships, meet some familiar faces and participate in some meaningful networking, and we're really thankful for the opportunity.
Taking part in the BBFH helped me a lot to kind of streamline what we are doing. So it kind of forced me to think about different things regarding the business and the commercialization.
So look, winning the BBFH challenge will give us the opportunity to really take our device and refine the design, improve the efficiency and get really ready for standards testing and our first in human trial.
At IDE, we love working together to build better futures, and the Building Better Futures for Health Challenge is one of the ways that we do that. That's what BBFH stands for. And we run the competition to be able to essentially search for ideas and groups and teams that are like-minded, that also want to work together to build better futures for health. The major prize is $30,000 worth of IDE services, and there's also a People's Choice Award, which is $10,000 worth of IDE services. When assessing the applicants, we run through a set criteria that what we call desirability, viability, feasibility. And by desirability, we're talking about how important an innovation is it? Like what do clinicians think of it? How much does it change, move the needle in terms of improving care or improving health outcomes or saving dollars for the health system? Feasibility, how possible is it? So can we see a feasible way to make that idea happen? And viability, is there a business case? As a result, you can't have something be successful and get to market unless we can build the business case around it. Lastly, we think about what kind of impact the prize can have, or what kind of impact the IDE can have in sort of being able to push that idea forward. And that often also comes in as a criteria, so we can make the most of the way that we're pushing, that we are utilising the prize.
My name's Nick Northcott, co-founder, executive chairman of Eudaemon Technologies. We're developing the world's first hydrogel condom, and this has really come from the Gates Foundation, looking to deal with the $60 billion burden of disease of unplanned pregnancies and 1 million STIs per day. So we've built a differentiated product that will support consumers to want to use a condom. Where we're at today, we've run pilot clinical trials, we've de-risked the product, we've got advanced manufacturing, we're building a scaled-up pilot plant before we launch the final pivotal clinical trials and get regulatory approval and launch into the global market. The Building Better Futures for Health program from IDE was really very early on in the journey for Eudaemon Tech. In fact, before Eudaemon was even founded. So my co-founders, Rob Gorkin and Simon Cook, were still at the university before the company spun out. And IDE Group was working with us to really understand how do we take the lab scale development into a robotic advanced manufacturing platform. And so IDE has been fantastic at working with us and the team in order to take out that very early risk of product development and manufacturing. Medical device development is inherently difficult, right? So you have a lot of challenges. What helps you de-risk those challenges is having the right expertise at the right time, at the right pricing, with the right flexibility. And so I think, 10 years ago, the market in Australia was less mature than what it is today, and it's improving in the capability to be able to support early stage companies to take that risk out. And the work of IDE and Building Better Futures has been great and a great partner for us over the long term during that deep tech product development cycle.
Over the last 11 years, we've had somewhere between 15 and 20 prize winners that we've helped directly. However, that there's also, we've helped and worked with many of the entrants that have come through that program, not just the winners. And I think that there are some great stories like Eudaemon and Bamatol and others that have come through our program, as well as many others. I won't claim all the credit, but certainly that's been a big part of the mission of the organisation to try and find connections through this competition for like-minded groups and parties and individuals that we can work together to build better futures, to create better products, to basically facilitate and improve the lives of patients, clinicians and health systems.
The BBFH Challenge, the Building Better Futures for Health Challenge, that is our partnership with IDE Group, and that's really about supporting these innovators at the early stages to provide them with the tools, the expertise and the guidance, because we all want the same goal, to see these innovations in market. MTAA has been a partner since last year, where IDE, who are again one of our member organizations, invited us to partner to strengthen the support that we can provide for these innovators. We're so proud that we were able to partner with BBFH and IDE Group, and that we've been able, through giving away a year's free membership to MedTech Compass to the winner, as well as support along the journey, because it's not only about who wins the BBFH Challenge, it's about pinpointing these incredible innovations and understanding what we can do to support them, how MTAA we can bring our industry knowledge and our industry partnerships in to support these companies. So we are very privileged to be partnering with IDE Group, and we're very privileged to be now in our second year of the BBFH Challenge partnership. And we're excited to see what's going to come out, how many companies are going to apply, what is going to be the caliber of applications, and how many of these innovations can we help to get to market.
In order to really de-risk an asset, you've got to think about it in layers: product, manufacturing, clinical, regulatory, how you get reimbursement or the go-to-market strategy right, depending on what kind of device you have. We have a consumer device, so we have to think about delighting the consumer. So, 10 years ago, the ecosystem was less developed, and a partner like IDE and others have been fantastic at supporting us to take that risk out of the process in the early stages, and you move from one risk to the next, right? So product and proving feasibility, technical feasibility is really important. You move to manufacturing, you move to commercial risk, you move to clinical risk, regulatory risk, and they happen in parallel, but being able to understand those risks and then strategically de-risk the asset is critical. Yeah, so we've had obviously a long development cycle, and part of that's fantastic support from funders like New South Wales Medical Device Fund and the Australian Federal Government, and also recently completed a seed round fundraising, where we've had great support from partners such as Swinburne Ventures and series of high net worth individuals as we fund the development of the company. We'll be looking to do our next round, which will support us to bring the product to market.
These events and the BBFH Challenge are so critical to support early stage innovation and ideas and ideation. The quality of these presentations are outstanding.
This event is our way of sort of inviting the world to tell us about what great new ideas they have.
The 11th year of BBFH is a really important one for us, as it marks a milestone for all the time and effort and success that's gone before. It also marks the second year that we've partnered with the MTAA as part of the BBFH competition. We see our partnership with the Medical Technology Association of Australia as very important to extending the reach of BBFH, to also impart to our contribution to the industry and our membership contribution to the MTAA to try and build a stronger medical technology industry in Australia, not only around having medical technology available to patients and clinicians here, which is very important, but also being able to build an industry that can show that we can develop and create and manufacture products here in Australia. This year's competition is a bit different in that we've got a much longer sort of a pathway to the final event. The first very important date is that applications close on the 31st of August. So if you still have some time left, I recommend if you've got any ideas or things that you would like to enter, that you take the time to put in an application, and we'd love to see it. The second thing is that the MTAA conference has moved from its traditional October dates to March, which I think is also very exciting, and I think is a better way of fitting into the conference calendar. And we look forward to hosting the final at that conference on the 3rd of March.